Linux Mint 22.2 versus MX Linux 25, the ultimate lightweight showdown. Forget everything you think you know about lightweight Linux. Today, we're settling the debate. Linux Mint 22.2 or MX Linux 25? Which one is truly the best pick for modest hardware, maximum usability, and everyday work? One of these distros might surprise you. Let's dive in. Introduction, setting the stage. Linux Mint and MX Linux are two of the most popular choices for users who want a fast, dependable desktop without the bloat. Linux Mint focuses on a refined, familiar desktop experience, while MX Linux emphasizes a lean, configurable system with powerful helper tools. In this video, we'll compare usability, core features, real-world performance, and which use cases each distro shines at. Quick note on versions, important. Linux Mint 22.2, codenamed Zara, is a long-term support release and brings a number of usability and security refinements.
MX Linux 25, codenamed Infinity, is currently in public beta and is built on Debian 13, Trixie, bringing an updated stack and a refreshed toolset. Keep in mind, MX25 was announced as a beta while we tested. Some details may still evolve before final release. Exploring Linux Mint 22.2, a look under the hood. Linux Mint has always prioritized a low learning curve desktop that feels familiar to Windows users. Version 22.2 continues that approach. Polished Cinnamon/XFCE/Mate editions, straightforward settings, and an emphasis on stability and long-term support, ideal for users who want it just works. The release tightens usability with improvements like integrated fingerprint support and refinements to Core X apps. Why that matters. Out-of-the-box conveniences, a friendly software manager, an intuitive update manager, and sensible defaults reduce setup friction for newcomers or for people migrating old PCs to Linux.
MX Linux 25, a lean and mean machine. MX has built its reputation on being fast, modular, and supremely useful on older or resource-limited hardware. MX25 carries forward that philosophy while adopting Debian 13 under the hood. MX's custom utilities, collectively known as MX Tools, provide powerful one-click maintenance, live USB features, snapshot/remastering tools, and installers that make advanced tasks accessible. MX25 also shows work toward a Qt6 port of MX Tools and a new updater experience. Why that matters. If you like granular control, snapshots, easy remastering, live USB management, without deep terminal work, MX is engineered to give that with very little ceremony. Performance showdown, boot, RAM, and responsiveness. For many viewers, the primary question is raw performance on lightweight hardware. Here's how to approach testing on your machine.
Boot time. Measure cold boot to desktop, seconds. MX's smaller, stripped-down defaults often yield faster boots on older hardware. Mint's comfort-focused services can add a second or two depending on edition and installed services. Memory and idle footprint. Run a clean live session and check free/used RAM. MX's minimal default components usually start with a lower baseline. Application load times. Pick the apps you use, Firefox, LibreOffice, GIMP, and time cold launches. Differences can be small on modern hardware. On low RAM systems, they become meaningful. Important. Objective numbers depend heavily on kernel choice, compositor, and whether you run background services. MX25's Debian 13 base and optional init choices can influence these outcomes. Mint 22.2's LTS stance favors stability over the very latest kernels by default. Usability and day-to-day experience. If you want a comfortable desktop with minimal tinkering, Linux Mint is the safe, polished choice. If you prefer a lighter base that rewards occasional advanced configuration with powerful utilities, MX is the smarter pick. MX's tools make maintenance and recovery easier for power users. Mint's UI and app choices simplify everyday tasks for mainstream users. Security, updates, and support.
Linux Mint 22.2 is an LTS release with a multi-year support window, ideal for users who want fewer major upgrades. MX25, building on Debian 13, benefits from Debian's stability and security model while adding MX-specific maintenance tooling. For long-term deployments, Mint's LTS tracking versus MX's Debian base and rolling-ish tooling are both solid choices. Your preference depends on update cadence and how comfortable you are with optional tool-driven changes. Final verdict and recommendations. So, which should you choose? Choose Linux Mint 22.2 if you want a familiar, polished desktop that just works, strong LTS support, and minimal tweaking.
It's excellent for users moving from Windows or for machines that need a stable, friendly environment. Choose MX Linux 25 if you're on older or limited hardware and value low memory footprint, fast boots, and powerful built-in maintenance tools, snapshots, live USB control, remastering. If you like to tinker with system-level utilities but want friendly GUI helpers, MX delivers. Note: MX25 was in beta at the time of this video and brings Debian 13 improvements. Both distros are fast, capable, and free. Pick the one that fits how you use your machine. Finally, which one should I install on your old laptop? Tell me your hardware specs in the comments and I'll recommend the best choice. Plus, I'll publish a follow-up with real benchmarks on a handful of test rigs. If you found this helpful, like, subscribe, and share. And ping the comments with your experiences, Mint, MX, or something else.